lady had a question.
Statement, really. I just wanted to say that I can relate to each and every one of them up there as far as being alive, because I know when I was dying, God brought me through 3 operations back to back, and I say hallelujah, thank God that all y'all are still alive. I know how you feel.
That's right. It must be something else when you get a second lease on life like that. I mean, that's got to be just amazing. I mean, Joe, gosh, what do you sit and talk to your 12-year-old son about? Because it was on his 12th birthday. The dad could have been wiped out of here.
Yeah, I saw him last Monday night a week ago. It was his 26th birthday.
Oh, God bless him. And he's had Dad with him all those years.
Well, we've shared more birthdays since that accident than we might have before it, now that I think about it. It's a special day for me.
Sure. Yes, sir.
And my question is for Joe. When you were swimming through the wreckage, was there any body parts or things like that you had to get past to get above?
Well, I didn't swim very much. Actually, I played snap the whip because I was broken up, so I was snapping the whip and pulling and doing this to move myself and this other lady to where we had to get. And no, the only people that survived that airplane, everybody else was inside the airplane, didn't get out. I rode the airplane all the way to the bottom of the river. I remember it settling in, and it took me several minutes to get out of it, actually, to get myself and Nikki out of it. And it was absolutely pitch dark inside that airplane. The way I knew I was out of the airplane was when it got kind of just a little bit of gray in the water, a little bit of light.
From you, yes.
Yes, I'd like to ask Joe in the middle also. And have you ever come to contact with
the other 4 survivors?
Yes.
I've seen 3 out of the other 4 over the years, yes.
What is that like when you get together with somebody? I mean, I got to know that when you get together with somebody and you share that type of experience. I mean, y'all know how it is when we see people we went to high school with so many years ago, or situations you go through. But to go through a life and death experience like that, that's a special sharing.
Yeah, you know, it is in a sense, and I think, but I know that we've all shared a sort of quietness about it. The most important thing happened to me in a similar vein to what you're talking about was I was put on an airplane about 2 months after the accident, and I flew out and stayed with my mother and dad. And I was 40 years old at the time. I had leg irons on, so to speak, Hoffman devices. And the pins had to be cleaned in every one of those holes every morning, every afternoon, every night. And my dad did that. My mother held my head in her lap when I would go into shock. And there was a very special feeling of sharing with my mom and dad at that point, which I wouldn't do it over for the experience, but it was kind of worth it in a way. You know what I mean?
They're doing just what they're there to do. They're taking care of their baby.
Yeah.
No matter how old you get. It's nice to know that you can depend on your mom and dad. Yes, sir.
Yeah, to Joe. How do you feel about flying now?
Well, I flew here.
Come on. Quickly.
I was wondering, how long did it exactly take you to get back on a plane?
They put me on a plane to fly me from the East Coast. I lived in the D.C. area at the time, and my mom and dad lived out in Spokane, Washington, where I live now. They flew me out there when I passed the admission out of the hospital test, which means you can walk on crutches about 10 or 12 feet. And I threw a pulmonary emboli on the flight, a blood clot, and then so it was about 4 more months after that before they'd let me back on an airplane. But I'm a pilot. I did a lot of flying before, and the main thing I did is I bought an airplane I could put all my kids in after that, and I did all the flying.
Yeah, amazing.
My question is, being as though we all train, when we get on an airplane, nobody really pays attention to what goes on about crash positions. What happened when you hit the bridge? What was going on inside the plane? How was the stewardess walking around? They was looking stressed, or what was going on inside the plane?
Were people yelling, screaming, running? What did people do?
We were in a departure from the airport, which means the stewardesses were in their seats, and if you've been through that routine, you're all strapped in, your seat belts on tight, and your seats up straight, and so forth. All right. And that airplane was only in the air 20 or 30 minutes. I mean, 20 or 30 seconds. We were in the water a heck of a lot longer than we were in the air.
So did they know, like, when the plane was going down, did y'all all know? Did they have an announcement or something, or?
No.
They didn't announce it?
I knew we were going in.
So everybody you hit the water and it was like panic, right?
I can't say. There were 2 impacts. We hit the bridge, and I think they I was personally injured at that time because I think the landing gear came up in through the bottom of the airplane, and I think that's what wiped out my left side and Nikki's right side. I was aware that I was hurt. Then there was a subsequent impact with the water, and that was much harder. And I remember basically I had enough time to say, God help me, and I think he did.
One of the things that we've been that has made your stories even more amazing than just listening to them is that you actually have the video that to capture these incredible moments. Lee is on the phone, who captured Lisa's tangling with the whale there. Lee, can you hear us?
Yes, I can, Rolonda.
Lee, I want to ask you this. When all of that was going on, did it ever occur to you to drop that camera and jump in the water? I noticed that when she's tangling around with the whale, you're shooting.
No, Rolonda. I was in the water all the time. And we were both in the water. It was my boat, and we were all alone, just the two of us out in the ocean, way offshore. But I was in the ocean. And as far as going down and trying to help her, when she was really in trouble, and that's not the part I filmed, the worst part happened afterwards. She was way, way down deep. The whale took her down really deep, deeper than shown in the video you saw, and it stopped. And I got to thinking, could I try to go down? And my feeling was I'd never get down that far to start with. But what I was really afraid of, if I started to go down, the whale might even go down deeper. And I could see her struggling in the whale's mouth. And I had this feeling that as long as he didn't go down any deeper, she at least had a chance.
Yeah, and I guess
but if I would have gone down, the whale could have gone down even deeper, and that would have sort of finished it up.
And I guess once again, like we've been hearing so many other people say, your training probably told you just the right thing to do. We'll be back with more of your questions right after this.